So what do you think is the most important of the 10 Commandments? Do not kill. That's a pretty big one. Do not steal. Do not lie. Honor your father and mother. I had to say that for Mom. I wonder how many people would actually say honoring the Sabbath, taking a day of rest, that would be the most important one. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time doing that sometimes, and it seems like that's the one that we kind of overlook. And I've often wondered, why is that so important to God? I mean, I know He created the earth in 6 days, and then He rested, so we should do what He does. But why is it so important to Him? And I have a feeling that one of the reasons is, I think out of all of the 10 Commandments, that one, if we do it, it shows that we trust Him. You know, I think that He actually wants us to trust Him as a Father. And I tell you what, taking a rest, it causes us to say, you know what, I am not in control of everything. I am not the one totally responsible to make sure I am provided for. I think about Luke chapter 12. Jesus had thousands of people around Him, and He was telling this parable to the crowd. And He said there was this rich man. He was a fool. He was this farmer who had all kinds of grain, and he had these barns, and so he stuffed it in his barns. But those weren't big enough, so then he made bigger barns to store all his stuff. And that man, once those bigger barns were all full, and I'm sure he worked really hard, probably didn't take a Sabbath day. Once they were all full, he said, I'm just gonna sit back, eat, drink, and be merry. And that's when God comes to him and says, you fool, you are going to die tonight. And then who's gonna get all your stuff? Jesus said that it was foolish to work really, really hard to store up earthly wealth and not be rich in your relationship toward God. And I think that also includes your trust in God. So Jesus turns to His disciples and He says, you know, that's why I tell you not to worry about your everyday life, what you're gonna eat and what you're gonna wear. And He tells them to look at the ravens. He said, they don't work. They don't get all upset and worried about, oh no, what am I gonna do? But your Father in heaven totally cares for them. He feeds them. Look at the lilies. Look at the flowers. Do you think they're worrying about what they're gonna wear? And yet Solomon, in all of his splendor, he isn't dressed nearly that well. And these are flowers that are here today and gone tomorrow. Don't you think your Father cares even more about you? How many of you, by worrying, can add 1 minute to your life? Jesus tells us not to worry about those things. Jesus said it's the unbelievers that worry about these kind of things. He says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. He even tells them to go and sell their possessions and give to those in need, and that will store up treasures in heaven. When we say, Lord, I trust you, I'm just going to stop, I'm going to rest, I'm going to think about your goodness, and I'm going to stop striving to do all of this all on my own. I know that when we do that, He is glorified, He is honored, and He is our Father in heaven that says, yes, my child, that's how I want it to be. So I just want to encourage us this week to take time and just rest in God's presence. He is our absolutely wonderful Father, and He is wanting to give us good gifts. He will provide for us. Take that time and rest. Thanks, friends.